Back in session in 6 cases. First case is cause number 327-582. Second case is cause number 327-824. Third case is cause number 328-442. Fourth case is cause number 328-444. Fifth case is cause number 332-188. And the sixth case is cause number 333-256. All three cases are styled the state of Texas versus Deracia Marquise Williams. Ms. Williams, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Ms. Williams, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Williams, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? You may put your hand down. Ms. Williams, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney John Macy. Attorney Macy, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Your Honor. Thanks.
Mr. Macy, do you waive a record in Ms. Williams' cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, in cause number 327-824, I have before me an information. This information alleges that on or about June 13 of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Ms. Williams, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Ms. Williams, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Williams, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Ms. Williams, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of the same document, there's a signature, excuse me, set of initials on the line next to a box that's checked no contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Williams, did you sign a document that is titled Discovery Certification? And I have a document here that's titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Williams, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I've just shown you, did your attorney, Mr. Macy, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Williams, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit. Mr. Johnson, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor. State officer, six, two.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Court will also take judicial notice of State's 2, which is the probable cause affidavit, in the court's file. Mr. Macy, you advised and counseled Ms. Williams. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams, your attorney, Mr. Macy, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Ms. Williams, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea waivers are freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
Is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of no contest in this case, state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 180 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court suspend imposing that sentence at this time and instead place defendant on probation for community supervision for a period of 2 years, Your Honor. Require defendants to pay a $100 fine and to complete 40 hours of community service. We're asking that the standard DWI terms and conditions of probation include a drug and alcohol analysis and an interlock device, Your Honor. This case is to dismiss companion case number 327-582. Your Honor, in this case will run concurrent with cause numbers 328-444 and 333-256.
Okay. So you just, in this, okay, in this court, yeah, okay. Now, Ms. Williams, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in Jefferson County Jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for 2 years. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $100 plus court costs of $422, which comes to a total fine and court costs of $522. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County Court appointed attorney's fees of $100. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class and evaluation fee of $125 on the day of plea. Should a public evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you are on probation on this case, is $105 a month. Ms. Williams, will you be able to pay the $105 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. You'll be required to install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. You will also be required to attend and complete a DWI education class. This case will run concurrent with cause numbers 328-444 and cause number 333-256. And the state will be dismissing cause number 327-582. You will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Ms. Williams, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Williams, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Williams, we'll move on to your next case. Your next case is cause number 328-444. And Ms. Williams, in this case, I have a document before me that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about October 9th of 2020, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Ms. Williams, do you understand what you've been charged with in this case?
Yes.
And to this charge, Ms. Williams, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest? Now, you pleaded no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Williams also, I just want to check this box right here. You got Class B, it's a Class B DWI. The punishment range is a little different, minimum 72 hours. You just initial.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. Yeah. I took the wrong box.
The only difference, the difference is that the minimum is a 72-hour minimum on the DWI first, as opposed to 0 days or 180 days on a regular Class B. It's 72 hours to 180 days on a Class B DWI.
Your Honor, do you want me to erase the other check mark?
You
or
could,
just leave it?
yeah, no. You could erase the check mark and put the check mark in the appropriate box. Check the appropriate box.
You just initial it, just showing that I changed it after you signed it already.
Okay. Now, Ms. Williams, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment in cause number 328-444. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, Ms. Williams, there's a set of initials, DW, on the line that's titled No Contingent No Contest. Are these your initials?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
On the next document, it's titled Trial Court Certification, the Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line entitled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case, and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Williams, before you sign and initial all of these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Macy, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1 and State's Exhibit number 2. State, you like to offer States 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor. State Office 6-1 and 6.
Any objections, Mr. Macy?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. And Mr. Macy, in this case, you've advised in counsel, Ms. Williams, is there any evidence that she's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Is there any evidence in this case that she's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Williams, your attorney has advised in counsel, you in this case, are you satisfied with his representation in this case?
Yes.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation? Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Williams, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waiver was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in this case?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 180 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court suspend imposing that sentence at this time and instead place Ms. Williams on community supervision for a period of 2 years, Your Honor. Require Ms. Williams to pay a $100 fine and to complete 40 hours of community service. Your Honor, we're asking that the standard DWI probation conditions include drug and alcohol analysis, DWI education course, and an interlock device, Your Honor. In conjunction with this plea agreement, the state has moved to dismiss companion case number 328-442. Your Honor, in this case, is to run concurrent with cause numbers 327-824 and 333-256.
Okay, Ms. Williams, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in Jefferson County Jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for 2 years. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $100 plus court costs of $422, which costs a total fine and court costs of $522. You would not be required to pay a probation fee in this case. You will be required to pay your analysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County Court appointed attorney's fees of $100. And you'll be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class and the initial evaluation fee of $125 on a day of plea. Should further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments in this case is $45 a month. Ms. Williams, will you be able to pay the $45 each month?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to perform 40 hours of community service, install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you want to operate. You'll be required to attend and complete the DWI education class and have an alcohol assessment. This case will run concurrent with cause number 327-824 and cause number 333-256. State will also dismiss cause number 328-442. And you will also be required to adhere to the standard terms and conditions of this probation. Ms. Williams, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Ms. Williams, I'll follow the plea bargain agreements that you have entered into with the state in this case. Now, Ms. Williams, we will move on to your next case. And your next case is cause number 333-256. And Ms. Williams, I have before me in this case a document that is titled information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about May 31st of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Ms. Williams, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Ms. Williams, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes.
Ms. Williams, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of the same document, a set of initials on the line DW that next to box is check no contingent. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, Ms. Williams, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document, that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are two boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The next document that I have is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
Ms. Williams, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
Is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me states exhibits 1 and 2. State, you like to offer states 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor. State offer states 1 and state 2.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. States exhibits 1 and 2. Court will also take the addition of the states 2 as in the court's file, the proper clause affidavit. And Mr. Macy, you advising counsel, Ms. Williams, in this case as well. Is there any evidence that she currently been in incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Williams, your attorney, Mr. Macy, has advised and counseled you in this case. Are you satisfied with his representation in this case?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Williams, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 180 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court suspend imposing that sentence at this time and instead place the defendant on community supervision for a period of 2 years, Your Honor. Require the defendant to pay a $100 fine and to complete 40 hours of community service. Your Honor, this case will be dismissing case number 332188. And lastly, Your Honor, this case is to run concurrent with cause numbers 327824 and 328444.
Ms. Williams, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in this case. However, you will not be required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because the 180 days will be probated for 2 years. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $100 plus court costs. The court cost is $307. So the total fine and court cost is $407. You will also be required, you will not be required to pay a probation fee. In this case, you, however, will be required to pay a urinalysis fee. You will also be required to reimburse Jefferson County Court appointed attorney's fees of $100. Your total monthly installment in this case is $40 a month. Ms. Williams, will you be able to pay the $40 each month?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. This case will run concurrent with cause number 327824 and cause number 328444. This also cause number 332188 will be dismissed, and you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of the probation. Ms. Williams, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Ms. Williams, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Williams, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney. follow the directions of our clerk. And once you finish following those directions, you'll be free to leave, and you have a blessed day. Now, Mr. Basie, you may need to make that same correction on the first case that we did. The first DWI case where you also checked the Class B policy.
Hi, Ms. Williams. Doing well, how are you? Can I go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue light in front of you, please? Thank you. You can move your hand.
Okay, what case is it on?
This is on
Again,
333102, Freddie Cruz Angels.
Now, Mr. Macy.
Okay, Cruz Angeles, Freddie Cruz, yes,
I have,
333102.
Submitted a motion to dismiss.
You did?
Just pled guilty and felony murder.
Okay. Okay, I'll sign it now.
And now, Mr. Macy. Okay, now, Ms. Williams, can I have you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear that you've never before been given probation or deferred adjudication for a felony or misdemeanor, in Texas or any other state? Okay, and you have no other pending charges that you will. All right, you can put your hand down. This is your paperwork. You're gonna
Oh.
take to the probation.
I'm doing her dismissals too. She
Okay.
can get a copy of the dismissal.
So he'll sign those, and then before you leave, I can give you a copy of those. But this is your probation paperwork. Once you leave here with your dismissals and all of this, you'll just report to this address and they'll go over everything with you, okay? And if you just want to have a seat, we'll get those dismissals printed for you here soon.
Uh-oh.
As soon as you're finished, can I approach?
Well, I'm working on something right now.
Are you gonna be able to leave today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
I thought you did.
What do you tell us what in addition to?
Okay.
Mr. Macy, those dismissals already.
Or these for dismissal.
It'll be 3. Okay. Next case is Gerald Bryant. Mr. Bryant is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Bryant, you can take your mic off of mute. This is cause number 329-880, case of style of state of Texas versus Gerald Wayne Bryant. Mr. Bryant, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Okay, I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Bryant. You're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Cobb, who is appearing in court. Mr. Cobb, how are you doing?
Doing okay,
Mr. Cobb, what is your announcement of Mr. Bryant's case?
Your Honor, we're almost done with getting on pretrial diversion. The problem, Mr. Bryant was ready to sign his contract, but he didn't have the money.
Okay,
We just need some time to get the money. If we could reset for the end of February, because he's gonna be,
he's signing up in February.
right, that's gonna be the next.
Okay, just give him the second week in February.
Maybe a little more.
No, it's just if he gets into the pretrial diversion in February, the case is gonna be dismissed
Okay.
that day.
I will be-
So, okay, it's gonna be reset February 13th. Mr. Bryant, your attorney's gonna get your reset. You scheduled to sign for your pretrial in February. This will conclude your case. Stay in contact with your attorney, your bondsman. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
You are. Next case is cause number 330416, case of style of state of Texas versus Adrian Brown. Adrian Brown was scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's announcement docket. At or about 9 a.m., Adrian Brown's name was called. In fact, Adrian Brown made an appearance. The time now is 10:37 a.m. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Adrian Brown at the courthouse door?
Your Honor, Mr. Brown was called, his name was called earlier, probably in this court. I think I heard his name.
His drug court case was reset at January 9th. Okay. Adrian Brown's name was just called at the courthouse door. Adrian Brown did not answer. Reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Brown an opportunity to reappear. He has not reappeared. State, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, stay moved for bond.
That motion will be granted. Adrian Brown's bond will be forfeited and the warrant should be issued for his arrest in cause number 330414. Okay. Mr. Cobb, I think this is your last case.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Court is back in session and cause number 327-802, case of style of state of Texas versus John Paul Trimble Jr. Mr. Trimble, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Trimble? I'm doing fine, Mr. Trimble. You're here, with your attorney Wright Kimler. Attorney Kimler, how are you doing?
Well, thank you.
Mr. Kimler, what is your announcement in Mr. Trimble's case?
Ready?
State?
Your Honor, the state is ready for this, they haven't been able to secure the offer to serve, in this case, Your Honor.
If he needs to continue.
Okay. You say a defense, you have no objection to it
Okay.
continues? Okay. Next case is Eduardo Rodriguez Rocha. Please come forward. This is cause number 327-885, case of style of state of Texas versus Eduardo Rodriguez Rocha. Mr. Rocha, is that your full name?
Yes, last name is Rodriguez and the orange Roach.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rocha, you're here represented by your attorney Wright Kimler. Attorney Kimler, what's your announcement?
Ready?
State?
Your Honor, the state also hasn't been able to secure this witness, the complaining witness, Miss.
I think she went back. Did she go? She good.
So what's your announcement?
Your Honor, the floor continues to see if we can track her down.
Okay, let me do this here.
You want to check?
I think we may be headed for dismissal on those for the currently different reasons.
Okay, Mr. Rocha, just have a seat. Yeah,
I don't object if he needs this.
okay, hold on.
Can we put Ross on recall?
Okay, I'll put it on hold.
We may be headed for disposition.
Okay. Next case is cause number 331-492, case of style of Texas versus Destiny Kenneth.
We're ready.
State's ready, Judge.
Okay, ready on that. And Ms. Kenneth is here?
She is.
You can come on up. Your name is Destiny Marie Kenneth?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Now, your attorney announced ready on this case, so you need to be back tomorrow at 1:30. Okay, be back to court here at 1:30. Pick a jury, okay. Let's see.
He can go. Be back. Do you want to just reset? Whatever you want to do. Whatever. If you need more time to make sure, or whatever.
I can go to the next call down.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, next person, I think these are all of your cases, Mr. Kimler, is that correct? Y'all, yeah, Ross is on hold. And then, Trimble was reset.
Right. I think
Oh, you say Polanco, call the name,
Polanco's a bond for.
yeah, but call the name of, Chris Frank Polanco, calls number 325-897. Chris Polanco was scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's trial docket at about 9 o'clock. The court's bailiff called the name of Chris Polanco at the courthouse door. Chris Polanco did not answer. Chris Polanco has not appeared in court since the court's been in session. The time now is 10:45 a.m. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Chris Polanco at the courthouse door?
Chris Polanco. Chris Polanco. No response.
Chris Polanco's name was just called again at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Chris Polanco did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Polanco an opportunity to appear in court. He is not appearing in court. State, you have a motion?
Your Honor, state moves Polanco.
That motion will be granted. Chris Polanco's bond will be forfeited and the warrant shall be issued for his arrest and cause number 325897. Okay, let's see. Let me see, I'm trying to see. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session and calls number 332350, case of South State of Texas versus Brian Craig Mason. Mr. Mason, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Mason, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Mason?
All right, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Thanks, Mr. Mason. You're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Philip Dowden. Attorney Dowden, how are you doing?
I'm great, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Dowden, do you waive a record in Mr. Mason's case?
I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Mason, I have two cases before me. Cause number 332350 and cause number 332444. Mr. Mason, in cause number 332350, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information alleges that on or about April 26th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of terroristic threat, family violence. Mr. Mason, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Mason, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there's a set of initials on a line that's check NOLA content, next to a box that's check NOLA contended, which means no contest. Do you record?
Yes.
Is this your, are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
The next document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And Mr. Mason, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes,
to
sir.
the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason? Or state, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Your Honor. State office station.
And State's Exhibit 2, the probable cause affidavit?
Yes, Your Honor. State office station. See what's in it.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Court will also take judicial notice. State's Exhibit 2, the probable cause affidavit. And Mr. Dowden, you are waiving a record in this case, is that correct?
I have.
And Mr. Dowden, you advised and counseled Mr. Mason, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mason, your attorney, Mr. Dowden, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation? Mr. Mason, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for the defendant's plea of no contest in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 180 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court suspend imposing that sentence at this time and instead place Mr. Mason on community supervision for a period of 18 months, Your Honor. Requiring Mr. Mason to pay $500 fine, to complete 50 hours of community service, and to complete an anger management course, Your Honor. And in connection with this plea agreement, the state will be moving to dismiss companion case number 332350.
No.
No, it's 4-4.
332.
Oh, I'm excuse me, 332444.
Okay, Mr. Mason, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for a period of 18 months. During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $352. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a year announcement fee of $15 each month. And your total monthly installments, that is, the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month is $125. Mr. Mason, will you be able to pay the $125 each month?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason, you will also be required to perform 50 hours of community service. You'll be required to pay $100 to a family violence center in Jefferson County. You'll be required to attend and complete an anger management class. And the state will be dismissing cause number 332444. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and condition of this probation. Now, Mr. Mason, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mason, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Mason, this will conclude this case. However, pursuant to or in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonish you of the following. Number one, you are by entry or order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013A, firearms mean any device made or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife, blade, or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or carrier firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of an antique or carrier firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends that you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearms. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders. All conditions of bond, any family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, Mr. Mason, you have a copy of this admonition, of this admonition that I just read to you. You can keep that for yourself. Okay. Now, Mr. Mason, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following the directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Dowd, once you finish signing the necessary paperwork, you'll be free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too, Judge.
Okay, court will be in recess.
Hi, for me.